Knox, I see a very professional setup from your end. So why is that?
I've been making a lot of content for the students in the real world to help them along their business journey. And I just figured if I'm going to teach them something, I might as well at least look good doing it.
Okay, very nice.
So
So what do you do within the real world?
what do I do? Currently, I'm one of the business captains in the new business mastery campus taught by the greatest professor in the world, Professor Arno. And I teach people how to, well, I give them a general business education and teach them how to and not to run their businesses when they get to that point. I teach them how to grow their business, teach them strategic planning, which is an absolutely invaluable tool. I tell people in there is no such thing as luck in business. You always hear that old statistic where they say like 95% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, right? It's because they didn't know what they were doing. You can easily come into here and learn exactly what you need to know to make sure you're not within that statistic.
Mm-hmm.
We can walk you through surgically growing your business. It is not something you need to leave up to chance. It's like they say in the crypto campuses, don't gamble with your money. If you're going to be risking something, at least know what you're doing.
Right. Good points. And how did you get that role as the business captain?
I would like to think competency, hopefully, but no, I just helped out a lot because I really like to see people winning in there, and eventually Arno and the rest of them just asked me to get on board.
Okay. So what was your previous experience with business, managing businesses or consulting, anything along those lines?
Yeah, not a problem. I have over a decade in consulting companies. I used to work at a large consultancy where I consulted companies anywhere from 50 million a year to several billion a year revenue. It something I went to university for back in the day. So, and I just got tired of making other people money. I saw Andrew on TikTok at some point, and eventually got this bright idea to quit my $300,000 job and start my own business.
Right. Because I was going to ask what brought you to the real world. So, I mean, now that you said you saw Andrew on TikTok, I guess that will be along those lines.
I saw a few videos on him that really convinced me to join. One was him talking about surrounding yourself with people who want to talk about nothing but money. And that's what you get in the real world. That's one of the most undervalued things about the entire place. You're talking with people who are absolutely obsessed with making money. You're surrounding yourself with them. You're talking about making money. You're eventually going to make some money. Mm-hmm. As long as you're putting in good amount of work ethic, and really using your brain, carving a path forward. There's plenty of knowledge in there for you to do so. And you can get creative with it too. You don't have to just follow some blueprint. But his other video that, I'm trying to remember which one it was. He was, it's the video where he said nobody ever got rich working for somebody else. I really sat there and thought about it. I said, it was absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
And generally in my field, you wait so long before you ever start your own business, if you ever do, really, because it's not easy to get started in. I was like, you know what, screw this, I can do this.
Mm-hmm. And how did that go for you when you started your own business?
Fantastically. I'd say after the first month, I studied up under Arno and saw a few videos under Dylan's campus too, and freelance. Yeah, but Arno's lessons are the ones that really helped me close a client because, they're really high ticket items. I mean, you're talking about retainers that go from $10,000 to $20,000 a month. So you had to take the sales process very seriously to make sure to close.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, but it's something you can pick up in our campus, I would say, is the ability to, one of the primary lesson series is explicitly on communication, because that's the important part in sales, right? Is being able to communicate with somebody effectively. And he goes over, many, many industry techniques you will not learn in school for selling people on anything. You could use that campus explicitly to get into high ticket sales and do absolutely fine. So anyway, after the first month, I closed my first client. It was at a little over $11,000 a month. So that's when I first hit that mark. And I just used my personal skills and continued to watch Arno on communicating with people to kind of augment that, and grew the business to a little over 100,000 a month in January. And as of last month, we're doing 180,000 a month. So we're on a pretty good trajectory.
Very nice. Congratulations.
And I still continue to use his sales tips, by the way. They are absolutely golden. I have never in my life seen people give such just things you would never think of in the sales process. And it's worth way more than $50 a month just to learn that world-class sales. Mm-hmm. Sales is one of the most undervalued skills ever until you're in sales, and then you wonder why you never learned it.
So what about sales is that makes it undervalued?
A lot of people like to really focus on the marketing side because that's getting your message out there effectively, and they've never been forced to actually talk to somebody to sell something. And you can convert a lot of people on low end items through just sheer marketing, but honestly, that one-on-one sales, I mean, come on, have you ever tried to go to a car dealer and just been sold on a car without having somebody talk to you?
No.
No. Never. Exactly. Even if you're just looking to get a job, bro, I mean, you're not going to beat sales. You want to get paid based on your performance. That's what sales does. You're learning the ability to talk somebody into buying just about anything. If you're good enough at it, you could sell nuclear waste to an environmentalist. I mean, that's the kind of skill you really want to learn, because if you want to make money, that is the art of making money. You're convincing somebody to buy something. That's making money, right? Making money doesn't happen without sales. You can put it on automation, sure, with decent marketing, a little bit of good ad copy, but you're never going to get those really, really high dollar sales without having a guy who knows how to talk to people. And that's what we teach that's partially what we teach in Business Mastery, is how to talk to people so that you can effectively connect with them and make sure that you are able to effectively communicate what product you're selling without sounding like a salesman, and eventually close that item. He walks you through the entire conversational process, gives you plenty of tips on how to talk to people without being a weirdo.
Which helps in real life as well, outside of work.
Which helps in real life. I was about to say, we make a lot of contrasts about talking to potential romantic partners and sales, and there is a lot of similarities. So honestly, if you're the type that has a hard time, finding a romantic partner, studying sales helps with that, because it's the exact same process. And you don't have to be disingenuous with it. We teach you how to be very authentic. If that's the real trick to good sales, is being an authentic person and just connecting with another person. And it's an invaluable skill, not just in business, but everywhere in life.
Right. Makes sense. And what was interesting listening to your experience and story so far is, even considering all your experience throughout your career, you still learned some new valuable insights through the real world and through honor.
Yeah, it's a highly valuable skill to learn. I would wholeheartedly suggest people come to the Business Mastery campus, even if just for that. And you know what? If you already got some money coming in, like, you don't even need much, dude. I started my journey with $3,000 in my pocket. I had just went through the nastiest divorce in the world. She took everything. I was already in the 7 figures. I had been there before. And I wound up, after moving and getting relocated, right after I had joined the real world and everything, I had to start this entire journey with about $3,000. And I've already grown it to damn near $200,000 a month. It's not something that you need an astronomical amount of money to invest in. Yeah, you can literally come in here and you have enough knowledge to start a business and hit the ground running. It's something I wholeheartedly suggest somebody do if they have a skill that they're competent enough that they could start a business in.
And that's, having a skill is something you can take to the Business Mastery. But if you don't have a skill, I mean, there's a lot taught as well in the real world.
Even if you don't have a skill, I could personally teach you how to start a business. Look, you can outsource everything. You can hire for anything. If you see let's say you want to start some big, like some small tech business, right? Like one of those new SaaS businesses. All you need to do is find some competent people to run it and to do the operations. Hire you a sales guy, hire a marketing guy, You can outsource to remote teams for pennies on the dollar compared to fully hiring somebody and at least get it off the ground. Once you got that cash flow coming in, dude, you're good. You can hire people and scale it to death.
Very interesting. I mean, I haven't looked through that much myself throughout the Business Mastery campus since it's quite a new campus. So speaking to you now, I definitely want to go through some of the courses myself.
We have a series coming out soon on strategic planning too that teaches people how to organize that process and really plan it out. So that way you can, you don't fumble that. You know, that you can step by step set a goal for where you want to take your business. You can set your strategies. We teach you how to do that, to pick the right strategies to obtain that goal, and how to write out plans of action to get it done. And that's something that is, I feel, is critical in the business process. You have a lot of business owners who are like, they're like the captain of a ship who doesn't know how to run a ship. They think they're the first mate or something. They keep trying to get involved in the operational side of it when really it's their job to sail the ship to a direction. Right? They don't even have a direction in mind half the time. They're just in there making set amount of paltry money and not even focused. They should be focused on growing the business, because that's the real job of a business owner. You should focus on making more money. And you don't do that by doing the working. You hire somebody to do that. You focus on doing the growing. You need to get it to the point where you can see a clear strategy, a path forward that you can carve for your business and that your team can then operate the ship to bring you to. And we'll be teaching you how to plan that out instead of just going with the flow, which is the worst idea in the world. Right. It's akin to somebody reading tea leaves to trade stocks, in my opinion. Like, you need to use good objective planning with a business. You can't just throw money at it and hope and pray. It doesn't work like that. You're leaving yourself at the mercy of the market, which is the worst idea on planet Earth.
I'd like to go back a bit to when you landed your first client, when you decided to open up your business yourself. Going career, starting something of your own. When you landed that client, let's say when you got them on a sales call, were you confident that you'd land them? Or was there still some uncertainty there, considering the divorce you went through, everything? Like, you did need that client, or maybe you felt like you needed them. So what's the story there?
I was absolutely confident, because part of the sales process is warming up the prospect and qualifying them, which is something I see a lot of people not doing. So I'm sure most of the audience probably knows the difference between a warm lead and a cold lead. Well, one of your first objectives in high ticket sales is to turn a cold lead into a warm lead. You want the prospect to warm up to you. You want to connect to them. You want to basically walk them to this deal. So you need to make sure to, I'd say one of the best strategies, in my opinion, is to make it seem like their idea, right? So, and to make sure to, there's one lesson we teach. Can I go over one of the lessons that helps?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many anyway. I mean, it's not like you're leaking the whole thing by giving one.
So if you go to Business Mastery, there's the first lesson in Arno About. I think it's the first lesson. It's called using frame control, right? It's a sales tip, and it's something I had heard of before. I just never used it, but it worked like magic. I'm telling you. So frame control is when you go in and you try to control the frame of how they perceive you, and not being disingenuous. You don't have to, try to act. It's the way you talk. So, for instance, the first example he gives is I think it's called the professional frame. It's like acting. It's kind of like talking like a doctor whenever they want you to trust that they're a professional, right? You let the client do the talking. You ask them, "Hey, what is your problem? What is your biggest need?" Etc. Just keep going through and asking questions instead of rambling or over explaining things. Let your client do the talking. Eventually, they will talk themselves into it, because you've now diagnosed their problem and they realize that they have a problem because they've talked about it. Suddenly, you can make a recommendation. That's using frame control. It's just like a doctor, right? They ask you a bunch of questions. They give you a prescription. So I used it right out the gate. It worked magnificently.
Right. So what I'm thinking about now is, I guess for a large amount of people, when they are first reaching out to potential clients and they land that first sales call, they'll think, I need to provide them as much value as I can. So I need to tell them what I can do. But then it's interesting from your perspective, you're saying just first find out what the client actually needs before you pitch
No,
like everything you can do.
I'll
Is
tell
that
you what
better?
my number one thing is that I yell at people about every time I see it is trying to offer value or trying to sell people within the first message. That's the first thing you do. Just go ahead and offer the free. No, you need to connect with the prospect first. No, nobody wants to immediately be sold to. It's here's another contrast that I give people for that, and you're absolutely correct. Imagine walking up to someone you find attractive at a bar and immediately trying to sell them on whatever it is you want. That would be kind of silly, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's the exact same thing with sales. You need to talk to them, you need to connect with them, you need to see, you need to scope out the situation. You need to warm them up to you, and you need to very gently ease them. Of course, you need to provide value, but you don't do that right out the gate. That's part of what branding is responsible for, right? You want to social proof whatever it is you're doing. So set up your social media, your website, etc. So if once you get to talking to them, they're naturally going to Google whatever it is you do, especially if you have like a proprietary domain or you have your business contact at the bottom of your emails. And that'll help take care of itself. They will warm up to you and they'll see you as somebody you're just talking to. And then you need to kind of steer the conversation into what their problem is with their business without trying to sell them right out the gate. And you could offer them some free advice, and they find that really nice. They will immediately warm up to you if you offer that kind of free value. But if you just out the gate email them, say, hey, I noticed your copy sucks. Here's some good wording for you. Man, those people are going to throw you in the trash.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't do that. And that's one thing that we teach you in the Business Mastery Campus is how to talk to people, how to do sales, and how to get them on the phone, by the way. That's another series of lessons we're working on. We have one of our other captains is very, very good at phone sales in particular, and he's going to be producing some good content on that.
Nice.
And,
Okay.
I think that's a good skill in itself.
Right. So yeah, definitely a lot of value within that campus that even I didn't know existed. So something I'll definitely be checking out.
It's definitely interesting. As far as the role of value is concerned, I know if you were outside of the real world to try to hire Arno to give you advice, it would be very expensive. The other captain I just mentioned, if you hired him outside the real world, I'm actually familiar with his pricing structure. You would be paying thousands of dollars. If you were to call me for a consult, I charge $1,500 an hour for that. So you're definitely getting your value just in the Business Mastery Campus for $50 a month, which is absolute insanity.
And that just reminded me of something. For people who are thinking the real world is a scam and all these interviews are paid actors, that means I'm paying you over $1,500 just for this interview, eh?
Absolutely. And in fact, if you go in the real world and look at my wins, there's a guy who paid me $1,800 at one point because he had a little bit extra thrown in there for a 1 hour Zoom call.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely can always back up anything I say like that. And that was one point where I did because nobody believed me that I was charging that much for consults. So I posted one.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But nice. It's definitely not a scam though. Honestly, even if you're just coming to the Business Mastery Campus, Arno started doing that because he wanted to teach young men business, right? So like you're a young adult, you're 18 to 20, whatever. You're thinking about starting a business, you don't want to go in blind. He put all that content together to make sure that they don't have to go through the same trial and error he did going through the business world, right? So he's putting out all this content to make sure that they're prepared to do business without running into all the BS that comes with doing business. And there's a lot too. There's a lot of trial and error if you just do it yourself without really having to educate yourself.
Mhm.
I would say honestly, that's why so many businesses fail is they didn't educate themselves. There's a lot of stuff you can run into that will absolutely destroy your business, even if you get going. And we try to help you avoid a lot of those pitfalls.
Right. So in your case, since you said didn't really have a problem with the sales call, what would you say was the biggest challenge you faced when you first opened your business and were starting out?
Really got to think about that one. I normally plan things to death. I don't really consider anything an actual problem. I mean, I'm in the business of solving problems. So I would say finding qualified help. So out the gate, I had no problems. Once I got going, you got to understand hiring business consultants and business analysts that are not already working for a big consultancy that are competent is a challenge, which means I had to offer more money and a more attractive package than those billion-dollar consultancies. That was not easy to do. I found, as is always true, that offering a large performance bonus helped overcome that challenge. And it was good because it also helped foster a good work culture, right? People love making money and they will work very hard for you if they know they will make more money for doing better. That's one of the best staff management tips I could give anyone listening. If you can swing giving your guys a performance bonus, do it. They will work harder for you because they naturally want to make more money. If you want to raise the quality of your product, offer your team more money for doing better for your clients, and it will happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm learning a lot myself, so thank you for these. And
Not a problem.
yeah, I mean, 1,500 an hour, maybe more worth of value potentially, all for free to the person listening. I mean, damn.
And that is one more thing I would like to touch on if you got a moment.
Yeah.
Stop anybody who goes in there to try to start a business. I don't care if you're freelancing, starting an actual business, anything in their service space. Do not undervalue yourself. Stop charging absolute bare minimum prices. Like if you get known as the cheap guy, they're going to think of you as the cheap guy. And it's going to be so hard to change that. Like, there's no reason you have to charge dirt cheap prices out the gate. You really just got to get better at sales and marketing. It's something you hear Arno say all the time. You can do anything with good sales and marketing. It's true. You can start any business with good sales and marketing. You could sell dirt with good sales and marketing, which is a good business, but you get the point.
You say don't undervalue yourself, but then the real world is $50 for providing so much value. So why do you think that is?
I'll tell you why, and I've asked that question before, and I got the same answer every time. It's because Andrew Tate has an absolutely huge heart for young men who really want to make some money. He absolutely empathizes with them. The staff there have had the discussion of raising the price because a lot of people want to raise the price. Regularly, at one point there it was 150, I think, and Andrew dropped it back down. They could charge 500 a month; it would still be worth it. But he absolutely has a huge open heart for young men who are struggling and having problems navigating life, especially financially, and he wants to keep it open for them.
Right.
And that's the exact same answer I have gotten from anyone I have ever asked this question to. That I did not get a singular different answer from that.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was all inspiring because he could be making a tremendous amount of money from this, way more than they're currently making. But that's why I laugh when people say it's a scam. I'm like, no, that's one of the most undervalued products on the market, and it's all because they really genuinely want to help people. That's why I love having that conversation with people. I hope somebody tells me it's a scam. They're going to be hearing from me for the next hour, at least.
Mm-hmm. And even yesterday, I had an interview with someone from Kenya, and they said they had to go into debt in order to pay that $50. But then the amount of opportunities they got from it obviously repaid immensely. I think he said he earned about 45,000 through copywriting because he joined. So again, in those third world countries where it means a lot more to have to spend those $50, it's still accessible to them as well.
Yes, it is. There are plenty of ways to make money in there, whether you have a skill or not to bring. I mean, if you have some sort of professional skill, sure, you'll have a little bit of a head start. But even if you don't, God, there's the flipping course in the freelance section, which you could make your $50 back quick learning that, and they're good, really good at that. Mm-hmm. I always direct people there if they have petty cash they need to make for bills or something while they're studying copywriting. I'm like, look, go take the flipping course. You can make your money back really quick. And bro teaches you how to do the oldest business on earth, which is taking an undervalued item and selling it for more. But on the point of it, the actual value of the place, look, there's a few other things in there you would pay an astronomical amount of money for. Yeah, I'm sure have you had anybody go over to the crypto investing campus yet?
Yeah, plenty of people.
What Adam teaches is basically institutional investing. Do you have any idea how much money you pay to learn that stuff? Quantitative investing normally costs you a fortune to learn from a professional. Those guys don't just donate their time to anybody. The fact that Andrew convinced him to teach that in the real world it really blew my mind. The fact that somebody is in there for $50 a month teaching something that a lot of people spend tens of thousands of dollars learning the hard way over the course of years. Mm-hmm. And that's not including the cost of them failing their trades to get their system, or not their trades, but their entry and exits, failing while they're still developing their systems. Right. That in itself is worth an extraordinary amount of money. You have a guy in there who is a world-class e-commerce coach. I mean, and you do see a lot of wins out of that campus.
Yep.
God, whew. Man, there's some people in there killing it in e-commerce. The copywriting campus, if you have absolutely zero skills and zero idea what to do and zero money, God, you could go from zero to easily over $10,000 a month doing that if you're competent. And that's really all it takes is competency and hard work. Competency in that you need to really understand and apply what the professor's teaching you. I've seen plenty of people go through that course and absolutely kill it. I've seen plenty of people fail. And that's usually the big differentiator between the two is either they're not dedicating enough time to it, because you do have to dedicate time to it, just like you would at university, or they're just blowing through the lessons without reading them. You really have to watch the lessons and understand them in order to apply them. You can't just go through the videos as quickly as possible. It doesn't work like that. You must absorb and apply the information, or it's not going to do you any good.
Right. Same with anything.
Same with anything, exactly. You can go to electrical school and try to be an electrician, but if you didn't pay attention, you're probably going to electrocute yourself.
Yeah. Now I'd like to go on a bit of a personal note. What kind of an impact has Tate had on you personally?
Tate has had a massive impact on me personally. He, after really listening to him about, look, I was raised by a very conservative father, and I had to almost stop. I don't want to say I stopped having values, but good God, I couldn't even talk about people with them. I saw so much lunacy in this world. And I felt such a disconnect because I was living in Atlanta when I first talked to him. And that is crazy clown world city. Dear God, it's gone straight down the gutter. And being that I was raised in a traditional, by a traditional masculine father who still believed in hard work, still believed in making sure men, take care of women and love them and respect them with all their heart. And I wasn't hearing that kind of talk from anybody. And the moment I heard I heard him on, it was the first time I heard him was on YouTube. It was on an interview he was doing. He was playing while I was at work. And I remember one of the first things I heard from him was university is a scam. And God, I hit my desk and started yelling. I said, thank you. I'm not crazy. Because I tell people that all the time. But then I really started listening to him. And then all he's teaching is how he continues to tell people exactly how men should operate, how we're hardwired to operate. But these days it's being demonized so much that everybody's scared to say anything. And he was the first one really that I've seen with the absolute balls to stand up and just say what is the God's honest universal truth. about many subjects. And I have massive amounts of respect for him for that, but it really made me a lot bolder in living the way I know I should live. Like working harder, stop trying to worry about going off and doing this. I mean, I've always had good work ethic, but I mean, like working for the sake of making sure to increase my net worth, as opposed to trying to focus on just taking care of people that are not my family, not my brothers, not my children. And trying to focus on things that matter in life. And he definitely made me focus a lot more on increasing the value of my network. And let's see, he's some of his advice on finances helped immensely. Like I used to be on board with the whole trying to save your way into wealth, and I sold out of your personal finances. I understood implicitly that you must spend money to make money in business, but out of my personal finances, I was always trying to save money. And he said, "Look, saving money is for brokies." He said, "You just spend more money, you'll make more money." And I knew that to be
But
true.
if
anyway.
you need money, just make more. Like, you can't save yourself rich.
Exactly. You can't save yourself rich. If you want more money, just make more money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can't do that with a job. And the more I kept hearing about the subjects of him talking about you're never going to work for somebody else rich, you're never going to save yourself rich, I was like, you know what, screw this. I could do this. And really all I really wanted when I first joined the real world was people to surround myself with, talk about money. And I wanted the competition because I knew I do well under competition. When I have people to compete with, dude, I'm going to knock it out of the park. I'm not going to let you beat me.
Good.
And I saw some people making massive wins in there. So I was like, man, I really got to kill this. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure where I rank in as far as performances and students in the real world, but I did get pretty high on that chart at least.
Yeah, for sure. So,
but that's something in itself that's undervalued, man. You really got to jump in there and just continue to talk to people who are all about making money. You're gonna make money. What's that old saying? You show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Come in the real world, make some friends. There's plenty of good people in there to make friends with, and they're going to talk about money, and you guys are going to make money.
Mm-hmm.
It's not rocket science. You hang around a bunch of dirtbags, you're probably going to turn out to be a dirtbag. You come in here and surround yourself with people that are on fire for making money. Guess what? You're probably going to be on fire for making money, and you're going to make some money. You guys will eventually figure it out, but you don't have to, because there's amazing professors in there to show you exactly how to do it.
And again, a bit more on a personal note, how different is your average day now compared to before you joined the real world?
Whew, busy. I used to like working a lot, don't get me wrong, but I've just gotten, I love this process now, dude. I don't want to do anything but work, and it's not even really work to me. I enjoy making money so much now, dude. I'll push 100-hour weeks and be perfectly fine. So you couldn't pay me to take a vacation. My life is definitely different in the fact that I know not to ever surround myself with people who have values different than mine, especially when it comes to making money. The change it will have on your life to make friends with and surround yourself with those kind of people makes you operate different on a daily basis. You wake up with a rich mindset. You go about your day with a rich mindset, and you go to bed with a rich mindset. And the mood enhancement that it gives you is amazing. I mean, you still have that natural kind of anxiety that you want to make some money, but it's like in a positive way. And I can honestly say, from a quality of life perspective, it's amazing. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Mm-hmm. And where would you say that mindset comes from? The saying, you couldn't pay me to take a vacation.
Because, dude, once you get in there and you really start killing it, and especially if you've ever been, like honest to God broke before, you just haven't had financial independence, you start making it in there. And once you start winning, you don't want to stop. Like, everything you used to do to have fun is not fun anymore. Making money is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you still have some guys. I guess it really depends on their personal mindset, but surrounding yourself with people in the real world, that's not going to be you anymore. Not likely. You might be that guy that makes some money and goes off and dicks around and does God know what, but that's not the majority of the people in there after a while.
Right.
Even after they're starting to kill it, they really just want to continue to do exactly what they're doing because it's fun. I mean, who's not going to have fun making money?
Right.
Oh, if you started making $1 million a month, would you not be having fun? I mean, that's obviously an exaggeration, but still, you go from making what 2,000-3,000 a month, maybe 4,000 a month, being broke all the time, to making 10,000-15,000 a month. Come on, man.
Right. And since you're on this trajectory now, where do you see your life heading in, let's say, 6 months to 1 year?
6 months. Well, after I joined the real world, I haven't posted the wins for them, but I started 2 other businesses too. One of them, I'd say about 6 months from now, I'm prepping it to sell. So my net value is already in the 7 figures since I joined the real world. I'm not sure how many people in there have actually accomplished that in under a year, but I'm very proud to say it. So the Tates are not lying when you said you could go in there and actually make millions. I went from 3,000 net worth to 2.8 million. That's not paltry. And that was within 6 months. You can do it, I promise. You just need competency and hard work. But in 6 months, I'm hoping to get to somewhere between 10 and 11, because I have a business that I've been growing that explicitly to sell. Like eventually I'll be teaching people how to do that too. That there's an interesting idea for having an M&A course, because we really need more business owners in there before I have the demand to actually teach people how to make a business explicitly ready to sell after about a year to make money that way. But it's a solid method for making quite a chunk of change. So I'd say hopefully in that I'd be able to expand to broader ventures, like maybe growing in a few different areas of the world as opposed to just where I'm at. And hopefully it turns out well. It will. I'll make sure it does.
Right. It will. No hope required. It will. And we'll do a follow-up in future to see how things have progressed for you as well.
Yeah, and that's a piece of wisdom I give anybody. Never hope for anything. You need to plan it out, and you need to take action. That's the most important part. You can sit there and agonize and hope all day long. It will never happen if you don't actually take action.
Right. So, Knox, to end off, for people who are still thinking for $50 the real world is a scam, what advice do you have to them?
Seek a therapist. God, that's the craziest thing after being in there for so, it's insane. You're not going to find that value anywhere else for $50. It's worth, in my opinion, thousands of dollars per month. That would make the barrier of entry obviously too high, but as far as the actual raw true value is concerned, it's up, I would say, in the thousands of dollars per month. The market value could feasibly be done somewhere between $400 or $500 a month. I think people would still pay for it then if they actually knew the value of it. But to say it's a scam at $50 a month is absolutely insane. I mean, good God, you spend more than that on a good dinner, and you're talking about something that could change your life. There's nothing in there that's a scam. You're going to learn actual actionable business skills that and other skills that you could use to either freelance or invest or whatever. And you're going to learn many ways to make money in there. And even if you're only in there in a month, good Lord, you're going to absorb a lot of information that's going to help you throughout the rest of your career, whatever it is you do. And I would honestly challenge people just to try it for a month instead of going out for a steak dinner or whatever. You will surprise yourself how much you're going to learn just in that short period of time.
So, Knox, thank you very much for your time. As I said, I look forward to doing that follow-up in future. And until then, I wish you all the best.
Anytime, brother. Take it easy.